Hello, everyone. Once again, welcome to our webinar on why your sales team may be disliking Salesforce CRM. Thank you so much for joining us on time. Please note that all the attendees will be placed on mute for the entire duration of the webinar. And meanwhile, you can post your questions at any time in the comment section, and we will take all those questions at the end of our webinar. So my name is Anil Semwal. I'm sales director at Cynoteck, and I have been working with this company for last 8 years. Let me please give a quick introduction of our company. Cynoteck is an ISO certified company established in year 2008 with its headquarters in India and offices in North America and Middle East. We are Salesforce Consulting and ISP partner company, and also we have been Microsoft Gold partner. For the last 15 years, Cynoteck has been supporting their clients' technology initiative through CRM and ERP consulting, custom application development, and digital transformation services. We have served our customers globally, like in North America, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Middle East, and Asia. So now, without any further delay, let me please introduce our speaker for today's webinar. Many of you has been already introduced with him for last webinars. His name is Anshul Verma. Anshul is the president and head of Salesforce practices at Cynoteck. He has nearly 20 years of strong Salesforce experience and has worked with many top-tier management consulting IT firms globally. At Cynoteck, Anshul is responsible for the growth and development of Salesforce practices globally. He has attended Dreamforce event as a speaker multiple times and is also an author of book on Salesforce practices. So let's move to Anshul. Hi Anshul, how was your day today?
Hey, Anil, doing good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you absolutely.
Great. All right. Well, thanks, Anil, for that great introduction. So I'll just get started. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. I hope everyone is having a good day and looking forward to a nice weekend, probably a warm weekend, I guess, for people in Midwest, close to my place.
Thank you. Thank you, Anshul. Nice to meet you too again. Once again, we have a packed and interesting session ahead, covering a lot of topics on why your sales team may be disliking Salesforce CRM and how to increase its adoption. So now handing over to you. Over to you.
Thanks, Anil. All right. Thanks, everyone. So let's get started. As we all know, the topic of today's discussion is why your sales team may be disliking Salesforce. And it's a very common phenomenon, more than what we would really like to see in a typical industry. In fact, most of the industries, we have seen the enthusiasm of bringing in a new solution sometimes fizzles out after some time, and people realize that the adoption of Salesforce, primarily within sales, is dropping out. And today we are going to talk about that. So let me, I think I can skip this slide. Anil has already elaborated a lot about my experience, so I'll skip this. But in today's journey, we'll talk about what really drives sales teams. So we understand their psyche, we understand their driving factors. Then we will dive into why we think Salesforce may be something that they dislike, maybe a sales team dislike their Salesforce, reasons or factors leading to that. Then we'll dive into how you can potentially solve those challenges, or how you can better equip your systems, processes in place to avoid these kind of failure points or drive better adoption. And lastly, we'll talk about next steps as an action starter to get you towards the success path. So starting off, to understand or rather come up with a good solution, the first thing, the first big step is to understand the problem in a better way, to understand what is causing the problem, what are the root causes of the problems, so you can come up with the right solution. So it's something that is a methodical approach. And in this session, the first step we are trying to understand is what is sales perspective. When we talk about salespeople, what do they like, what do they dislike, so that we can then use that information to understand what would be causing these lower adoptions or why they may be disliking Salesforce. So first and foremost, if we look back in past couple of decades, sales itself, sales process, sales industry has changed significantly. When we talk about sales almost 20, 30 years back, it was primarily a sell function, wherein a salespeople or salesperson would go door to door or to different offices, potential clients, to inform them about their products and services, their capabilities, provide demos, and then potentially make a sale. Before that, a lot of organizations would not even know about the product or service until a salesperson walks into their door and informs them about the product and service. But now the equation has changed. In past 10 years, 20 years, with the whole advent of internet, the expanse of internet across the world, now the buyers start the journey on their side. It's called buyer journey, wherein they're starting the journey in terms of business needs, business challenges, and driving what solutions they can think of or they can find available out there. So there is lots of dynamics that is going on before a salesperson is even involved. So when salesperson comes in, the buyer journey is already started. They already understand what is the problem they want to target or they want to solve, and what are the different options available. They are already informed thanks to the information deluge brought in by internet. Another important aspect is that the technology that has been brought in past 10, 20 years has significantly changed the way sales is done. Now you have sales research tools availability, you have product comparison tools available, where a potential buyer can go and compare different products and services, review different recommendations, reviews submitted by existing customers of their different products, and assess which products matches their needs best, costing and all those factors as well. So a lot, as I said, a lot has changed in the sales cycle itself, and that is something that is very important to keep in mind when we talk about salespeople and what might be driving salespeople's adoption or their usage of Salesforce or CRM. So with that information, let's understand what drives sales. What are the factors that drive salespeople? I think it's not hidden by any means. The first and foremost thing is they are driven by targets. Every organization have their sales targets, which are assigned or percolated over to their sales team, their salespeople, and they require their sales team to meet their targets. That's I think no secret over there. Everybody knows about that. But as we all know, everybody wants to exceed their targets. They want to do beyond what they're asked to do, right? To get more value, in fact, get better perks as part of better sales. So the first and foremost factor that we need to keep in mind is the sales people are driven primarily by their targets. That's their foremost and most important thing. Next, what drives their sales targets, or what we have seen is something that they value most, is the customer relationship. For them, a lot of interactions that I've had with salespeople, one thing I've understood is that any good salesperson really values their customer relationship. They don't take that for granted. And what they look for is building a long-term relationship for the most part. So when they are talking about sales and customers, they're very much in terms of making the customer experience, the customer engagement, as much important as possible, as much valuable as possible. So those are the two things that we have identified, two factors that we have identified, which motivates salespeople the most. So as we now understood what drives salespeople, what are the different factors which might be causing their direct or indirect actions, emotions, let's first understand what are usual roadblocks or potential or problems that might be there in your CRM implementation within the organization that might be causing low adoption, that might be causing salespeople to dislike your Salesforce. So what do salespeople not like? What do they hate really? First and foremost would be data quality. I mean, if we boil down CRM to its very basic essentials, the first and foremost thing is to provide right information at the right time for the right action. Now, if the CRM is not able to provide that, if it's not able to provide the right information, a consistent set of information, then it's actually of no use. For example, let's say a CRM has a very basic level of contact information available, but if the phone number in there for a contact or an email over there for the contact is not correct, it's actually not giving any value to salesperson. They would rather save that contact information on their computer, on an Excel file, and rather use that, rather rely on that instead of CRM to make the sale. Now, this becomes very important because in that case, essentially, gradually, you will see that all the information that's out there in Salesforce, in the CRM, is outdated. It's not consistent. It's not reusable. So data quality is one of the most important factors in terms of the sales factors or CRM factors. The second would be manual work. There can be various processes, again, depending on different implementations, wherein we may require salespeople to edit multiple records, take multiple actions within CRM. And we need to understand salespeople, as we talked about their motivating factors, they want to sell. So anytime we are pulling them away from selling, talking to customers, we are basically taking making it hard for them to meet their targets. So we are driving them away from what they like to do, what they want to do, and asking them to do something that might impact their performance, their target. So for common things would be too many fields on the page or too many steps to follow can really complicate the matters. Learning curve. Again, something similar to what we discussed in the last step. If the application, the CRM application, is very complex for salespeople to follow, we would see that less and less people would be able to follow that or use that application. You can imagine any application that you might have used in your specific business area, and your particular inclination towards an application, which is actually easy to use and something that is intuitive, compared to an application which seems very tough to understand and tough to follow, gradually, naturally, you would be spending less time on that application. Another policy that we have seen in terms of CRM implementations is focusing more on management ask, management driving factors, management requests, and ignoring the end users, the business users who would be actually using the CRM day in, day out. A lot of instances we have seen wherein the CRMs are designed primarily for management to run reports, but they're not giving the value to the end business users, which in turn, for a business user to spend too much time in the CRM, not getting out of any value out of it, makes it a very, you can say, non-compelling factor for them to use CRM. Lack of strategy. When we talk about CRM, one of the things we need to understand is CRM is not an IT implementation project. CRMs are business projects. It is involving a lot of business transformations. It requires a lot of process engineering, process re-engineering. And if those strategies are not as much, those implementation strategies, CRM strategies are not defined, designed as well, they may fall flat. They may not be able to actually drive the value that they expect to. There are too many systems involved, too many operations can just complicate the whole matters. And lastly, closed doors. One of the things we need to keep in mind is that when we talk about any business process, any business system, nothing is perfect. Things change, dynamics change, and there would be requirement for those changes to be accommodated in the tool or the process. And if there is nobody listening to what the end users are saying or the challenges they're facing, there's less likeliness for them to stick to that solution. a screen is taking too long to calculate something, they'll probably go to an Excel, do their own calculation, use a calculator, do their own calculation, and get the job done. Because for them, using CRM is the means to an end. It's not the end. The end is to meet the targets. So if their means, that means CRM is not helping them, they can take shortcuts. They will take shortcuts. A very important insight to understand in here is this is a research that was done since 2001. Different researchers, in fact, you would see it by different research groups. And a common theme you would see in here is that there is a significantly higher failure rate of CRMs across industries. There are Gartner researchers, nuclear researchers, Forrester research. You can see the numbers are staggeringly high for CRM failures. And we have just gone through some of the points that are some of the driving factors for these failures. But the good news is we have a lot of success factors, success stories as well. And as you can see, a lot of growth organizations are using CRM. There are a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of practical and valuable insights in terms of how CRMs can be effectively implemented and operationalized in organizations. But one thing I want to drive with this slide, with this graphic, is sometimes we've seen organizations leaving the journey way too early or giving up, raising their hands way too early in the entire journey before they can actually start seeing the actual value out of it. As you can see, this graph talks about different sales technologies, tools or features that are used within CRM in sales space by different organizations. And you'll see the first thing at the top is CRM, for sure. That's the baseline, the platform where the journey starts. And then gradually you start adding the different capabilities, contact data, account data, sales engagement platform. But then most of the organizations leave journey after fifth or sixth step before actually going down and actualizing the overall benefit, the whole system tying together. Rather than this, they focus on first couple of steps and give up too early in that journey when they will never be able to get the actual outcome out of it. Because you can see the actual value is when you go down into the subsequent stages, subsequent features, and incorporate those as part of your ecosystem, your sales journey. So theme of this slide is that we should typically have a clear roadmap in sight, walk through the steps, and try to gauge those steps and the outcome in a more objective manner, in a more realistic manner, rather than trying to see CRM as a magical bullet, as a silver bullet, which can solve all your problems in probably 6 months or 1 year. It's not going to happen. It will take time, and you have to walk the journey to get that real benefit out of it. So now we'll dive into what are the different techniques or what are the different solutions through which you can circumvent these issues. How can you drive adoption? How can you plan for success? How can you drive success? So the first and foremost for any CRM journey would be its vision and strategy. As I laid back in the previous slide, one of the failure points is lack of vision and strategy. So as part of the solution, any CRM journey should start with a clear understanding of vision. What is the CRM vision? What are the factors driving that CRM transformation, CRM implementation, or maybe even CRM redesign? There should be clear understanding of what is not working right now so that we understand how to make it work in future. It's very easy to pick things that are buzzwords in the world right now. People have heard about AI, people have heard about ChatGPT and all, but not everything would suit your business requirements. Not everything would be aligning to your strategy, and you may not be in that adoption journey, in that stage where you can adopt those new tools. So it's not healthy for any organizations to just jump into what is the cool kid out there, rather than have a more methodical approach, more thought out approach on driving this CRM towards success. Otherwise, we'll be too much distracted by new things rather than creating a journey which will take time, which will take a lot of patience, which will require a lot of planning to bake things in, set the foundation, and then build things on a strong foundation. Um, One thing I also want to add in there would be, as part of vision and strategy, we should also think about the adoption strategy. Often it comes as an after effect when the systems are rolled out, to understand what is our adoption, how do we measure adoption, and how do we increase adoption. Instead, if it can be defined and identified at the onset of the journey, that would give you a much better factor in terms of CRM design, CRM implementation, and the overall execution, the overall transformation journey, rather than being at the very end where it might be too late to actually drive some of that adoption or drive some of those steps. Another important factor in here would be that vision and strategy should not be hypothetical. As much as possible, it should be driven on based on data, based on the actual facts rather than perceived knowledge, which can be very problematic. You may perceive that your customers like cool presentations, but they might be just interested in seeing one good quotation, which is as clear as possible for them to follow. So without the right information, the strategy can never be correct or optimal. So that data-driven strategy is one of the biggest cornerstone of success in terms of right vision and right strategy. Coaching, I've added that as a second slide to emphasize its importance. Often it's not about the tool, it's not about the process. They probably already might be already set up in the right way, already might be driven for success. But maybe you have not spent as much time, as much effort in coaching your sales team about the new process, about the new tool. And as part of that, they're confused on how to even use the tool. They probably like the tool, but they're confused when they go into the system. They don't know how to create a quotation. They don't know how to send a contract for signing. And stuff like that just gives them, you can say, confuses them on how to proceed to use CRM. So one of the most effective way would be having a clear coaching strategy, a training strategy for CRMs. There are lots of tools out there which can help you, and there are lots of strategies for training salespeople. But that should be an essential part of sales transformation, sales journey. We cannot think that salespeople would automatically learn the tool by just pushing it onto them. And apart from training, let's say again, the CRM is launched, you train your users, and then again, you expect them to become experts overnight. Maybe in 2 weeks, you're expecting them to be able to use all the features in the same way as they were intended to. But that rarely happens. Salespeople are not technical people. They are salespeople. They're selling out there. They're talking to customers. They're doing a lot of things. So for them, CRM is not their bread and butter. Their bread and butter is the sales. So there are often times you release a system after 4 months, 6 months down the lane, they probably don't even remember a few things or most of the things that were imparted as part of the training. They forgot how to create a contract. So retraining on sales or sales tools is also equally important to make sure you're brushing up their memory in terms of the tools and the capabilities, and maybe also avenue to tell them a way of handling things better. Maybe there are 10 ways of doing certain things in CRM, and they're optimal for different use cases, and they don't understand that. So with them using the system for 6 months, coming back with that knowledge of what is working, what is not working, they may be able to ask right questions and would be able to get better trained this time. So retraining is also equally important. Coaching in there, the difference between training and coaching would be training is a formal training where we have training sessions, workshops to train salespeople. However, coaching would be something that is done at on a very granular level, wherein your sales manager is coaching your sales team or salesperson on how to improve your sales approach, how to improve your communication, how to improve your sales processes. And that coaching is something that can also be baked in as part of CRM itself. How you generate your weekly reports, how do you tag your weekly reports, how do you report on corrections required on a weekly basis. And those can be tracked within CRM to make it more effective and compile all that information in one place, so that salespeople don't have to go to different places for their coaching notes and drive better adoption of this. So, and last, outcome driven. The training and coaching cannot be abstracted as a standalone activity which can be driven. It is equally important to understand what is the outcome of that training, how many people participated, how many actual sessions they attended, if there were handouts, if there were actual work to be done, some steps to be followed, how many people actually followed through those steps. It's very important to understand how many of them are actually following those steps, how many of them are actually following the learning that was provided, and understand if there is lower adoption, let's say a new feature is launched and there is less adoption. It's equally important to understand why some people are not using that feature or capability. For any good system or process, people are the center point of any good system, any good process. So it's equally important to understand the people who are going to use a system. One of the success factors we have seen is involving end users way ahead in the journey. In fact, we have seen the other way, where end users are involved at the very end of the journey, and often that leads to a lot of surprises, wherein end users have no idea about the new system coming in, and they see that more as a threat rather than an opportunity. And they are confused by the new system. They are already having a lot of backlog with the old system, and now they're confused with how to use the new system. It's a scare, it's a threat that has been sent their way. Instead of, if these users, at least most of them, can be involved in the journey, they can be made aware of a change coming down the lane, 4 months, 6 months down the lane, giving them periodic screenshots, periodic communication on how this new system would look like, how it might benefit them, would just ease that surprise and reduce that emotional aspect of threat. Rather than it can bring the enthusiasm. It can make them more positive towards the change. So a couple of activities that we have done and we have seen work really well in these scenarios would be, as I said, involving end users, identify some end users, involve them in the onset of the journey, during the ideation sessions, during the workshops, business design or technical design, and taking their feedback. You would be surprised how a lot of end users would have a lot of amazing ideas that can be incorporated in the CRM, in the process itself, for overall improvement. And that is an opportunity that should never be missed out. Also, as part of transformation, as part of driving the new tool, we can identify some champions and ambassadors from within the end user population, who can be people who are actually very conducive to change, who like new things, who can adopt faster, and who like to communicate to different folks. These are the folks whom you can focus on training, take the feedback, and these folks can impart granular level training, ground level training to the end users, and be the first person to contact if the end users start facing any issues. So instead of end users trying to all connect to support, they can find a person on their floor next to them on the next cubicle who can help them and drive better adoption. So that's a much better way of driving adoption at a ground level, rather than asking everybody to basically contact customer support, wherein case most of them would not be connecting to support due to various factors. And feedback. As we said, one of the important factors for failure of CRMs is closed door. Nobody is listening. So it's very important to have a closed loop feedback, wherein we are not just listening to folks, we're not just listening to their problems, their ideas, we're also acknowledging that we have heard, we have collected your feedback, and what is the plan forward. Maybe there are a couple of good ideas, and you can pick those ideas, incorporate them in subsequent releases of CRM, subsequent versions of CRM, and make them feel heard, make them feel part of the journey. A very important insight, in fact, as I've added on the right-hand side, the CRM is it's a tool, it's supposed to make your end user's life easier. If that is not solving the problem, that is not targeting that goal, then something is not right. So we need to really keep that in mind. The CRM is a tool which is supposed to solve their end users' challenges. A quick slide on, again, what can be designed and thought of as a best design. But if it is not practical, if it is not helping end user, they might just find a workaround as part of driving their outcome, what they see as their goal. So it's very important to have the design and user experience, as you see in this slide, having the same end goal. A better design always focuses on user experience. Similarly, a better strategy always focuses on the expected outcome. Process. As we have been talking about CRM, it's basically a tool which drives your processes or which can be part of your overall process, business process. If you do not have a clear strategy, a clear approach of the process, then you would be just adding a tool which might not be helping the entire process. Your processes might be running outside of the tools. So a couple of techniques in there would be, first and foremost, enabling guided sales methodology, using sales processes in a more guided approach within tool, where the salespeople can use the tool in a more guided approach. They can have screens which guide users on what to do next, so that they don't have to remember a lot of that process. The system is automatically telling them, coaching them about the next step, about what they might be doing wrong, or what they can do to improve their sales prospects, and proceed from there. Another thing to keep in mind from process would be CRM or sales process in itself is not a standalone process. This process is working with a lot of other processes. There are a lot of upstream processes like marketing or inbound sales that are feeding data into sales. There are a lot of downstream processes like customer onboarding, customer management, customer support, customer service, operations, accounting, finance, which are needing all of this data from sales to be able to drive it. So there is no process, there should be no process silos. All these processes should have proper synergy, appropriate data strategy to be able to send data and information seamlessly across these processes. And that will help you avoid the confusion, avoid the frustration for salespeople. Let's take an example. Let's say you have an amazing CRM system, but then end of that sales journey, you want to do a customer onboarding. Now you're asking a salesperson to fill a 5-pager Word document or Excel document to initiate the customer onboarding journey and send that information through an email to our operations team. Instead of that, if 50% of that information is already in CRM, and CRM can automatically generate that information and send it over to operations, you're not just significantly reducing the amount of time salesperson has to spend on that, you're also reducing the amount of error that can occur in that process. You're reducing that error portion as well. So lots of benefit in making sure these processes are not sitting in silos. And of course, process optimization. If they have to hop 10 times to get to a particular outcome, it can be very confusing. It can be very frustrating. Rather, if it can be optimized, where a system and automation can drive a lot of those things automatically without having them manually to drive those steps, that can be a lot of, you can say, bring in a lot of benefits for the end users. Tool, as we have just been saying, CRM is just a tool, but a tool is as effective as it is used, as effective as it is built and designed for a particular given purpose. You may be able to use an Excel file as your CRM. It might just work for you, but then does it work when you have a team of 100 people, 100 salespeople? Does it work when you have teams spread across different geographical locations? Does it work across if you have a lot of different products, different product pricing strategies, different discounting models? As you start adding those complexities, you would find that some tools really outshine the others, and some tools are simply not usable within those dynamics. So it's very important to understand what is the right product, right tool for your industry, for your business environment, for your business processes. And the right tool will be one of the, you can say, stepping stones for success. Without the right tool, we can try to move around the circle, but we'll never be able to meet our target, achieve our target. Another aspect of selecting the right tool would be having a foresight of not just what you need right now, but what you would be needing, you might need in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the lane. Of course, you're not working in a static environment. You're not working with a static target. Salespeople do not have the same target that they have this year. They will not have the same target next year or the year after. Their targets will change. The customer dynamics will change. So the CRM, the tool, has to be selected in a way which can be tailored, which can grow as part of that organization's growth journey. Otherwise, it can become a deterrent for the growth, which of course you don't want. After spending a considerable amount of time and money, you would want that system to be valuable, not just today, but also 3 years, 4 years down the lane. And one of the aspects that has come in terms of tool selection over the past couple of years is a choice of build versus buy. And when we say build versus buy, the idea is, do you build your own CRM from scratch and CRM capabilities, or do you buy an off-the-shelf CRM package? Again, there is no one-size-fits-all, but it's a very important question to understand and answer with, again, foresight of not just today, but also in future, because everything has a cost, and you need to rationalize that cost with the value that you can bring with the new solution. Again, this is last, but definitely not one of the least important slides, least important actions. We have seen lots and lots of instances wherein amazing CRM tools with lots of investments, lots of amazing features just didn't make the mark because there was no executive adoption. There was no support from executives. People saw it as a new solution came in, but nobody was asking them to use the solution. Conversely, when we have seen executives themselves adopting to new solution, executives driving their meetings, driving their sessions with the new tool, that automatically sends a message to everyone that this is the tool that is to be used. This is the tool that is source of truth. This is the tool that executive expects you to work on, as they are also using it. So there is no excuse for anybody not to use that tool. So it's very important in the success journey to make sure the executives are not just using the system, they are also becoming an ambassador, an advocate for the system usage, system adoption. And last in here would be data. We talked about data in the previous examples. So it's similar as we talked about data quality. We need to keep in mind that data quality is what is going to be one of the biggest factors for failure for any CRM system. And it's not just data quality during the implementation or the initial journey when your CRM is getting started. It's throughout the life cycle of the CRM. The data quality has to be maintained. One important aspect I would like to highlight in there would be when we talk about data, there have been instances and there have been various solutions wherein you might end up flooding a lot of information to the end users. Maybe end user asks for information about whatever customer has bought in their entire history. And we're talking about a B2B customer, who might have bought thousands and thousands of different products out there. If we show them all that data to the business user, 1,000 rows is not giving them a lot of information. You're asking them to spend too much time now to go through that entire list and then drive some actions, drive some insights. Instead, if you can compile that information and show them specific metrics, specific insights, maybe top 10 products they have bought or top products they have been buying for 10 years, or the products they have not been buying, which you think are best fit for the organizations. Those are the things which drive actionable insights. wherein they don't have to read through a 10-page report to understand what they can do to improve their sales. They can just read one slider and be informed, be more intelligent in terms of driving their sales processes in a better way. And of course, it's very important to understand the speed in which this data is delivered. If it takes 2 weeks or a month to drive these reports, to build this insight, it's often too late to take an action. The time is already gone. So it's very important to understand the speed in which it can be delivered is very important in terms of its adoption. So that completes all my slides that I have, Anil. So we can do a quick time check, and if there are any questions that we can address.
Yes, Anshul, thank you. Thank you so much. It was indeed a very interesting and insightful webinar. Even being from sales team, I really started liking Salesforce CRM.
So I should be seeing more of you using CRM in a better way now.
Definitely, definitely. So now we have several questions from our audience, and so if you allow, can we pick a few of them?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, so I'm moving towards the questions. First question is from Neeraj Moria. He's saying, "Hi Anshul, thanks for the valuable information. I would like to know how does the use of Salesforce impact the productivity and performance of sales team?"
So actually, it's a very broad question, amazing question. But I think there are a lot of parts of this. When we talk about how does it impact sales productivity of salespeople, there are both positives and negatives. First of all, we need to keep in mind it's not driving sales; it's helping them to drive sales. So that's very important. They don't make sale in CRM; they make sale on field most of the times, at least. So anytime we are asking them to go to CRM, it's actually taking their time away from them from actual selling. So what I see is that there has to be a trade-off. If we are asking them 1 hour of their time on a daily basis to spend on CRM, we should be able to save at least 4 hours of their time somewhere else, which is a good trade-off, wherein they can see the value. They're spending less hours in some other activity, and essentially the trade-off is they're getting 3 hours back if they're spending 4 hours on some other activity, wherein they're not spending those 4 hours, but spending 1 hour of that in CRM, they're essentially saving 3 hours. Where I can see a lot of that can be driven from, let's say, effective reporting, a lot of insights that can be brought in. CRMs these days have a lot of capabilities in terms of driving white space analysis. What that is understanding what products customers are buying from us and what products they are not buying, which is called as white space. And that can drive a much better action, wherein, let's say, if your organization is selling 500 products, each product would have their own different price margins, different profit margins. And to increase profitability, if you can identify those 10 products which you can now pitch to your customer and which can drive better sales, better profitability, better perks, then you're giving them something as an action to do, rather than letting them fish out on their own what they have to do next, which often would require more time. So activities or functions like these can heavily improve the sales productivity.
Definitely. So now moving to the next question, and next question is from Rajat Vasisht. He's asking, are there any training or coaching features within Salesforce?
Yeah, actually, Salesforce has lots of training features that when it comes to sales coaching. So if I lay out, the first and foremost would be Salesforce has built a free training tool called Trailhead, which is available to everyone out there, free of cost. There are lots of amazing trainings out there for end users, be it sales, customer service, even marketing, how to use Salesforce, the standard Salesforce, in a much more better way. So basic understanding of, let's say, what is an opportunity, what is an account, what is a contact, how do you update a contact, is out there in Trailhead. and you can easily follow your learning journey as well. As an end user, you can understand how many training courses really apply to you, how many have gone through. So that's really helpful. Next, there in Salesforce, there are lots of tools like Knowledge, Salesforce Knowledge, Salesforce Content, where you can upload all the training materials on Salesforce itself, embed those links, share those links from Salesforce. So you have the entire training library within Salesforce itself. Your training presentations, your marketing presentations in Salesforce itself. So salespeople don't have to hop around different tools to SharePoint, to different document management systems to be able to get access to those documents. They can have access to all of that from within CRM itself. Third, there are a lot of on-screen knowledge tools. There are a lot of on-screen guidance tools. There's one available from Salesforce where you can actually drive on-screen guidance on different new features or different capabilities. And you can also tailor it based on, let's say, if a user is logging in for the first time, you can give them like a quick journey of tabs, different areas of features that you want them to be trained on. And similarly, you can use that as part of retraining. Let's say you have launched a new feature, and after 6 months, you drive this again for a month. You're giving them on-screen guided navigation, guided knowledge about certain existing or a new tool that has been launched or feature that has been launched. So lots of features out there. In fact, when we go to partner market space, not just Salesforce ecosystem of partners, there are lots of third-party applications out there which drive amazing capabilities, which bring in a lot of features in terms of end user training and coaching.
Perfect. Thank you. So the next question is from Tushar Khatri, and he's asking, what are the typical complaints that sales team have about Salesforce?
Okay, so that's something I tried to cover in my previous slides when we talk about different policies of CRM. Couple of things I've seen in there would be when a system might be too complicated to use. It's taking too much time for them to use it. The screens may not be optimal. They're probably taking a lot of time to load, or they are very complex processes. They are probably a 10-step process they have to follow. Now, of course, nobody remembers everything clearly, right? There are oftentimes we forget a few steps. So if the system is not providing them adequate guidance in terms of how to proceed to next step, there can be a lot of confusion for end users. As I stated, if we rather use a guided sales process or guided navigation process in terms of driving these processes in the tool, it drives better adoption, as users don't have to remember what they have to do next. System is telling them what they're supposed to do next, and they can just follow that path itself. So that's those are the things I believe there are a lot you can say impact sales people's usage.
Yes, absolutely. So the next question is from Clifton Michael, and he's asking, how can companies ensure that sales teams successfully adopt and utilize Salesforce?
That's the whole presentation. So how does organization ensure that salespeople use and utilize Salesforce? I think that is where the adoption strategy comes in. How are we measuring our adoption? There are lots of tools out there, lots of reports that can be built in the CRM itself in terms of how many users have actually logged in, how much data has been updated or created on a given time period. Let's say opportunity is created over a month, opportunity is updated over a month, or opportunities which are stale, which are in wrong state in any given point of time. And based on that, those are the different factors and example factors. There can be a lot of other factors or ways in which you can track the adoption. But how do you drive the adoption is what I've covered in these slides. There's one aspect of doing, you can say, fact finding on what is not working, but completely different set of actions to make that work. As I laid out, you might need to do process re-engineering, or might need to rethink about the guided sales aspect of it, guided navigation aspect of it, to make it more conducive for user to follow and execute the process within the CRM.
All right, thank you. So the next question is from Dhruv Chandok, and his question is, what are the benefits of using Salesforce compared to other CRMs?
Yeah, that's also a very wide topic. I would say typically what I would like to say, usually say in that kind of a space is there is first of all no tool that works best for every organization. There are various factors which drive selecting the right tool: cost, effort, features, adoption, ease of maintenance. There are lots of those factors which go in, and rest of the ecosystem. Uh, you need to keep everything in mind before selecting the right tool. But when we talk specifically about Salesforce, first of all, Salesforce is by and large the most used CRM on planet, and there are real good reasons for that. It probably is not the best fit for every organization out there, but for the most organizations, uh, the way I've seen it is the most mature cloud-based CRM out there, which has a lot of stable features, capabilities, battle-tested across different enterprises. So you get a very reliable, stable product with a maturity of over 25 years now, wherein it has lots of those processes, billions of transactions being, trillions of transactions actually executed on a daily basis. Uh, Not a lot of CRMs can boast same results. When it comes to platform on Salesforce side, I think by and large that is the most sophisticated cloud development platform out there when we compare to any other platforms. For medium to large organizations, it's not just important to use the tool that comes boilerplate from Salesforce or any CRM. It's very important to understand how it can be customized to meet specific business needs, specific process needs. And that kind of sometimes becomes make or break kind of situation for any CRM. So it's not just about what Salesforce brings to the table day one. It's also about what you can add to Salesforce as part of sales needs or sales requirements. Maybe a new process that has to be incorporated, a new automation, a new integration that has to be implemented with your ERP system. So Salesforce, by and large, brings a lot of those benefits on the table when we compare to other tools, and it brings it in a much more reliable way. Is more battle tested than the rest of the CRMs.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. So we have a lot more many other questions, and a few of them have been answered already. And so I need to filter out them. So due to time concern, I'm taking the last question from here. And I would like to know our audience that we will definitely answer each of the question later. For now, I'm taking last question, and that is from Deepak. Deepak is asking, what are some ways to customize Salesforce to better suit the need of sales team?
Um, right. So um, that's a tricky one because there are lots of ways to do that. I'm trying to. So if I try to address that in a more you can say in a way that you can follow. Um, as I said, customer Salesforce as a platform is very rich. So when we talk about how we can customize Salesforce, there are lots of capabilities starting off with no code approach where you can configure Salesforce without even writing any single line of code. You can change view on how your information is getting displayed to a user, probably showing only relevant fields for a specific type of record or only relevant data to specific users so that they're only getting the data visible to them that is relevant to them. That's one aspect of it. You can drive automation again without writing code. There are a lot of capabilities like flows, process builders, workflows. You can have integrations done without writing any code, which you can use to drive custom behaviors, custom experiences in Salesforce. And lastly, the platform itself, Apex, Visual Force, Lightning Components, which you can use to drive or create customized capabilities, customized features. When we go beyond the enterprise, when we talk about partners, customers outside of the organization, you can have tools and features like Salesforce communities, where you can create partner portals, customer communities, driving that adoption at the last mile, from the outside of the organization, not just within the organization. So a lot of those capabilities out there, which can be used, which are used day in, day out for driving those experiences.
All right. Thank you, Anshul. Thank you so much. So, audience, unfortunately, we have very few minutes, and still we have many questions remaining. As I said, I would like to inform you that we will be reaching out to all of you with the response of your questions, and we will try to answer every questions. Thank you, Anshul. Thank you, everyone, for your time today. Please feel free to book a 30 minutes of free assessment session with our Salesforce expert to understand how you can customize your Salesforce pages. Please book your session using the link that we will be sharing with you shortly. And please keep in touch. We will be connecting with you very soon with our next webinar. Thank you, Anshul. Thank you very much for your time. It was really a great session.
Thanks, Anil, and thanks everyone for joining in. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.